Welcome to another episode of One Shot Stories, where we go behind the scenes of that one photograph that's in the collection. And tonight I'm really excited about tonight because I've got two special guests joining us. One I'm going to say is a little more special than the other. And Duane, don't take it personally, okay?
I'm hoping that's me.
I am
It's
going to
right.
introduce
She's always special.
I'm going to introduce both of you, but Duane, don't take it personal that the super special guest I'm going to introduce last here. But some of you might remember my one special guest tonight. He's been on the show breaking down Netflix's Unlocked, a jail story, because he's a retired corrections officer. We had fun with that show. And then he's also been on as a professional concert photographer who has shot the likes of ZZ Top. And what I'd like to say, if you can see over this shoulder here, right back there, my girlfriend, she doesn't know she's my girlfriend, Carrie Underwood, who I had Duane sign that photo. Nobody else has this photo. Duane signed it for me. He took it. Duane is back on the show. Duane, how are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How about you, Brian?
I'm doing great and fantastic, and I'm happy that you are here tonight to share this particular story with this photograph that we have up here. Now, Duane, I'm going to introduce our very special VIP guest. She is the beautiful bride that you're seeing here in our image. She was, when was this, Duane? When we did this wedding together?
6 years ago. I forget the date. Sorry, Eden.
I can tell you the date.
She's got the date. She's got the date in hand. 6 years ago. She's gonna let us know. But she is the beautiful bride here, and we are going to talk about this particular image and kind of what was going on behind the scenes at the end of the day. Now, Duane and I have shot many weddings together. We've done a lot of projects in photography together. And this is one that I'm like, always kind of pops up in my head because there's always those really special kind of couples that you shoot over a long period of time. I've been a professional photographer since 2008 or 9 or so. I've seen a lot of people, shot a lot of different people. And there's just certain ones that you kind of get along with. You just have a lot of fun with, that are kind of laid back, that also appreciate what you're doing as a photographer. So Eden is our super special VIP guest tonight. Eden, thank you for joining us.
I am so happy to be here, Brian. Thank you for having me. I was so pumped when you
Welcome,
reached out.
welcome, Eden.
Thanks, Duane.
Can you clarify? Okay, so can you set the date for us
I
for
sure
this
can.
wedding night?
This was September 1st, 2018, which is 6 years ago from this upcoming Sunday.
Oh, maybe we need to
Awesome.
do a special
6-year anniversary.
6-year anniversary show.
Yeah.
So catch us up if you can, because we haven't really talked, or it's not like we run in the same we don't really necessarily run in the same social circles. I mean, I think you're in a completely different city than I'm in St. Louis.
I'm in a different
Duane's
state. We're in Illinois. We're in Oak Park.
okay, and then Duane's down in Texas.
Oh, God.
Yes.
So do you have kind of a brief recap of what your life is looking like since this night?
Hold on, you guys. It's been a crazy 6 years. We have 2 kids.
Oh,
We've
been busy.
been busy. The youngest one just turned 3 a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Earlier today, like a couple hours ago, I was at her 3-year well visit.
Wow.
The one older than that is 4. So if you are doing the math at home, that is 3 and 4 years old. Yep. We have 2 dogs. Well, you guys might remember our oldest dog, Murdoch, was featured kind of a lot heavily at the wedding. Our officiant, our brother-in-law, brought a picture of Murdoch to our wedding, like at during the ceremony, and he like held it up, and I was like, oh my God, is Murdoch here? And he wasn't. It was just the picture. But Murdoch is still doing great. And we have a little dog, Luke. And life could just not be busier, but it is so wonderful. It is so full and so fun.
And what are you doing specifically?
Yeah, so I work as a psychotherapist. I kind of do a little mix of work from home, work from the office, and in my free time raise those children. And what else? I mean, yes, I mean, that's kind of it. That's what I'm doing.
And have you ever thought that in the 6 years that you would be on a random Friday night together with your two photographers that
It
were
was
there at your
not
wedding day?
On my 2024 bingo card, no. But here we are, and I love it.
Duane, we could be there this Sunday for the big anniversary too, and
want to come
have
out?
a big live.
Mm-hmm.
Could we recreate this with the kids? Probably
Oh,
not.
how fun would that be? No, I mean, I'm not going to put them in the middle of a street late at night.
Especially that street, yes.
Especially that street, which I grew up going to that street late at night. So being back there on our wedding night was fun for me.
So let me kind of set the stage, and then I'm going to turn it over to the both of you because I'm interested in what was going through your minds. So Duane and I were both working the wedding, and it was a very long day. Anybody that's been married, gone through a wedding, shot a wedding, you know, weddings can be a very long day. A lot of things go on. And I always kind of joke around with my brides and grooms and other photographers that we're all going to kind of remember different things and how things go. And Duane and I we're a fantastic team together. And one of the things that I know that I had talked to you about, Eden, is that when you had us come out to do the wedding, when you hired us to do the wedding, I said, you're getting it's like getting two different kind of style photographers.
I remember that. Yeah.
And two guys that have a vision for wanting to basically by the end of the night to make sure that you have something super special with different looks. And I have always been very upfront, more so as I had gotten older and Duane and I doing a lot of projects together, that I'm very open and telling people, hey, the guy I'm bringing out is a better photographer than I am, which I will tell you makes it so much easier when you have these high stress jobs like shooting a wedding and you know you have somebody with you that is going to bring their game to where no matter what happens when we turn over these photos for the bride and groom to watch or to look at, we're going to have a good blend of different kind of looks and visions. And I remember throughout the day, so many things that Duane and I would kind of coordinate together. Hey, let me have them for like 5 minutes. I'm going to do something like this. And then Duane's like, great, I'm going to go plan out my shot after you're done with them and then send them down here. You know, so we kind of coordinated really well. By the end, towards as the night was kind of going on, and I know that Eden, you guys were like, you're getting a little tired.
I was so tired. I don't know how I was standing in that picture. I was so tired.
I told you at some point throughout and I don't remember when I told you this. I said, look,
you're going to want to tell me to shut up and stop.
Oh my God, I can't believe you remember that. So Duane, I told Eden, I may have told you too. I said, we are going to, because all we care about is making awesome pictures and just doing fun stuff with you guys. And you guys are super fun to work with. You guys never said really no.
Very much so. Yes.
And I said, but at some point, Eden, when you guys are so sick of us, please either tell me or Duane, we're done.
We didn't do that though. We never felt done.
We're done. And I said, you're not going to hurt our feelings. But I said, we're pretty aggressive in like, we're not going to just sit back and be like, oh man, we've got a few hours left. What are we doing? Like, I know Duane and how he works and stuff like this. He is constantly coming up with his ideas, and he's wanting to do things. And so we were kind of we were coordinating, but we're like, hey, can I have them for, I said, hey, do it, go do it. Can you go through in your head, and then Duane, you're going to go after Eden. Okay.
All right.
What was it like doing the photography and doing the pictures throughout the day, and then specifically jump into what you're thinking when you get to this picture here? Because this is one that Duane took. I love featuring Duane's stuff because it's like, I don't care. This is something that as a team, Duane and I together, we present this to you, and we just hope that there's something there that's special for you by the end of the day. But Eden, you got to tell us, what was it like throughout the day doing the photographs, but also coordinating and dealing with the wedding, and then at the end here?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not just kind of saying this. You guys were so awesome to work with, and we had such a fun day. And I remember making a lot of very specific choices that I knew, like other people, I was in a lot of weddings and I didn't want it to feel that way. So I made a lot of different choices. I wanted those like out in St. Louis. I grew up in St. Louis. It's so special to me. I wanted those pictures under the arch at the Muni, but I didn't want to drag I didn't even have a wedding party. I had my sister stand as my maid of honor. We had his cousin as the best man. Our brother-in-law was the officiant. That was it. I also have a huge family. I was like, I am not bringing people around. So it was like this kind of gift to get to leave everybody. Just the four of us, and my parents' best friends drove us with a bottle of champagne. We did not drink and drive. And just like, we went to all these really cool spots. I had so much adrenaline. I felt probably, like, looking back on it, kind of invincible. Like, I am going to feel like this all day. I am on the best high. We are vibing. This is so fun. And then it kind of kept building. The ceremony itself wasn't until 5 o'clock, 5:30 maybe. It was so hot. Do you guys remember how hot it was? And we were up. Yeah, oh, God. We were up on the roof where it says Moonrise in the background. It was the rooftop up there. It was a short ceremony, and then we started to party. And when we started to party, that is when I was like, okay, I am just going to enjoy the night. We danced. And by this point, I was like really like talking to all of my friends and all of our family members and trying to spend time with Haig. And I don't know if this part's accurate, so correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I was told I was supposed to go leave the party to take this picture a few times. And I was like, I'm not leaving. This is my party. I am having the best time of my life. And I don't remember how we actually got down there, but I feel like it was Haig. I feel like he was like, they really want to do this one. I think it's going to be cool. We should get down there. And I was like, okay, fine. But then, like, because that's not even where the night ended. We went down the street there to the bowling alley, which was a whole other, the bouncer there was the worst of the worst. The party itself was great, but we still had more of the night to go. And we went down there, and it was, once we were down there, I don't know, we didn't stop traffic, right? I guess it was just like 1 o'clock in the morning, and say, what time was it? It was so late.
Duane?
I want to say around 10:30.
Oh God! See, that's how tired I was. I don't know, 10:30. But there was like very few cars out, and
there was enough.
That was the bummer part, because I wanted the taillight trails, but
because we're in the median there. See,
yeah.
See, that's St. Louis. Yeah. There's never do not stay out that late there.
Well, I know, like, Duane's really big into like details of stuff, and so trying to do this shot, and Duane, I'm going to have you break this down yourself, but I just want to recognize why I appreciate having somebody like Duane shooting with me, is because I know when he told me of the idea for this shot, I was balancing two different things. On one hand, I was like, that would be a fantastic shot. But on the other hand, I'm like, I think we're at the tail end of them telling us to get the fuck out of here because they're sick of us doing photographs because we kept going back to you guys and we were very conscious of trying not to be too busybody, but then in the end we're like, hey, you hired us to do some awesome shots.
That's
and so we kept
exactly it. And the pictures from that day mean the world to us. And we have them. I think a few years ago, Brian, I reached out to you when I finally, because, life, it probably took me 2 or 3 years before I hung everything up. But when I printed them out and I hung them up and I was like so proud of the gallery wall, I sent you the pictures of some of the wedding photos up in the house. I mean, they're fantastic.
But this image here, but I knew that Duane wanted to timestamp where you guys were for the moonrise. So it was a big deal for him to try to not only get the moonrise exposed correctly, but for the off-camera flash to get you guys exposed. And oh, by the way, not to get hit by a car because we couldn't control the traffic. So Duane, why don't you step in here and kind of break down this idea that you came up with? And did you feel like I did that they were getting towards the end they were like sick of us or not? Because I thought Eden, I know that, look, not that you were sick of us, but you go through, it's a long day. And I think I forget what if it was you or Haig that came to me and said, look, this is it.
It was probably Haig. But I probably told him to say it.
One of you guys said that to me, and I said, hey, that's what I asked. You guys tell us. I said, if you finish this one, we're done after this one here. So one of you came up to me and said that. Duane, fill us in on the details for this shot.
So as I remember it, we were working our way down the street. So my idea was to get headlights coming at me and taillights going away from me and have the light trails. But as I said, we didn't have any traffic. But I do remember being on the sidewalk. We did a couple shots on the sidewalk. And I think both of them at the same time said, this will be the last shot.
Really?
And, yes. So, but what I think I remember most is Brian's terrified mind or thoughts when I told him my idea of dragging them out in the middle of Del Mar, which is usually a busy street. But anyway, but you guys had no apprehension and said, oh yes, let's jump out in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And then all I could think of is your husband's an attorney, and if this goes bad, I don't think I have enough in my checking account. And so
oh, that's hysterical.
It's just
so
it's one
anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
We so right in between you two, I think we got a headlight trail.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was hoping for cars coming both directions, but it never happened. But the bonus was the moonrise logo was not even in my thoughts. My thoughts were capturing the cars coming and going. And then when I looked at the photo and I was like, oh, well, that came out better than expected. And there was only one other time during the day where I think you had enough to need a little pause, and that is right when you two flipped me off with your ring finger, which was like, cameraman, get away from me. Photographer, get away from me. I've had enough.
It was the first time with our wedding rings on, and we were like... Yes,
but it was actually between breaking down that shot and this shot here, but I was by myself for the ring shot. So, but that's actually one of my all-time favorite photos is that ring shot and how spontaneous it was. But
there was a spark.
But this one,
I remember that.
I was hoping for so much more, but it still turned out great. But as a photographer, you always want that little extra.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it matters to you. I never knew that about the headlights, or at least it was not in my memory at all. I just see this as such a cool shot, and it's just...
Eden was just ready to start drinking and having fun.
I think I've been drinking a little bit by that point.
We understand. It's one of those, it's a balance though, because as the photographers, Duane and I are very in tune with you guys are there for other things too, not just for the photography, but we also know you pay a pretty good price to have us
Yeah.
there to do some cool stuff. So we're confident enough to kind of be a pain in the ass a little bit. But I think that's why we had the conversation with you guys at some point. And I said, you let us know when you're done, and we won't take it personal, but you guys were so good. Like, there are so many photos that I fell in love with that I didn't even take, that Duane took through the day. And again, that is why I'm like, it's a special thing to get. It's that Venn diagram of the perfect couple to work with,
No, I mean,
and then finding somebody to team up with like Duane, that is somebody I'm not worried about. Is he going to show up? Is he going to have his stuff exposed? Is he going to, can I put him in front of the bride without him embarrassing us? Like Duane, I'm like, he's probably going to outshine me, and good, because in the end, I want something that Eden's going to, when she looks at it, whether it was then, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I just want to make her cry.
you do. Trust me. Many a tear has been shed looking at these pictures.
And the fact that, like, Eden, if you look at yourself here on this one, as a photographer, I'm like, look how incredible she looks. And this is at the end of the day where she's sick
Yes.
of everybody.
Where she said, that's enough. Yes.
And that's enough. She's tired.
I
Both of
can't
them are
believe
tired.
I said that. I must have been really tired.
But like, just like the definition, like, I'm just from a photographer's eye, as I look at this shot here, and like you look at like the shoulders, and then I'm like, the detail on that, I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful shot. We have it time stamped with moonrise in the background, which now Duane's telling me that it wasn't even a something that was in the forefront of his mind, but somehow he just made it work. We got traffic going, which we can't control. We don't have people. We didn't have a big team of people to control traffic. So you are having cars intermittently kind of going by. So there is a worry on my behalf that I'm like, oh my God, Duane's going to get one of them killed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why that didn't. I don't have a memory of that crossing my mind. That like that was when you say we just ran out into the street with you. I'm sure we did. We were just like, yeah, this is so fun. I don't think that I really thought of the risk of getting hit by a car, which is probably because you made us feel so safe.
I'm very random and spontaneous, and so many of my shots throughout the day were just like I would see something and say, let's try and make this happen. And some of them worked, some of them didn't, but you didn't see the ones that didn't work. So
yeah, all the ones I looked at were.
Well, there's so many that for me have their own stories that we could do probably a dozen of these episodes to talk about it. There's one in particular that people aren't going to see unless Duane and I get together, do that particular shot down the road, which who knows, we may. But I don't know if you know this, Eden. Duane and I did a preliminary run through here before the wedding.
You did? Like of the location shots that we went to?
Yes, we come down, I don't know, in the afternoon at some point, because I was probably working midnights at the time. So,
yeah,
Duane was dealing with.
We came down, and Brian was my model for everything that I had in my head.
Those.
There is one particular shot that has always stood out for me that Duane has taken that involves you, the two of you. Again, this Venn diagram of like the perfect couple to work with. You hear the bridezillas or like the moms that are kind of crazy or something like that. I mean, Eden, you guys were fantastic to work with, and you guys were up for trying anything. There's one shot that is absolutely beautiful of you that is shot through is it the window? Do you remember the shot,
I know
Duane?
exactly the picture you're talking about.
The two of them are behind a window just doing their own thing. I don't even know if they knew that you were shooting.
No, I don't think we did. No, it looked like the best paparazzi picture you could get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Duane's idea that we had tested the day or whenever we came out to do some practice shooting. He's like, hey, I've got an idea for something. I need you to sit here.
Oh, that is so cool.
And I'm like, okay. And I trust Duane, so I'm trying to help him. And we did this back and forth to where we both were like the testimonies for each other because we wanted to do the best we could for you guys. And so I remember sitting at that table behind the window, and I was sitting there very demure,
very mindful,
and Duane's probably like, I don't get that TikTok thing, but
you know what, that probably won't age well in like
it probably won't, but that's okay because we determine what we're doing here. And Duane had this idea and he wanted to test it out. He's like, I wonder if I could get this to look right through the glass. I was like, well, let's try it. So I sat there and he did his little testing stuff. And sure enough, he had it in his head to where when we finally had you guys, and he was like, I remember, not specifically, but I remember when I handed you guys over to him, because we were kind of tossing you guys back and forth.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to do that shot. I was like, okay, go do it.
That's so cool.
And watching him do that with you guys, and then seeing the how it turned out, and again, the look, it's just,
I think he said, like, just sit here, chat with each other. Something like, I'll be right back. Like, we didn't know we were being photographed, but I guess if you know there's a photographer around, you're like somebody
creepy old guy outside the window with the camera. Yeah.
But I think they forgot that you were there shooting them, Duane. For like a brief second, I think they were like, "Oh, can you believe these fucking photographers we hired?"
I think we were probably saying, "God, this is the best day. We're having so much fun."
and it did seem, I think, to us, and I know Duane and I probably talked about it too. It's like, you guys, we're so easy to work with, but that photo, which it's not even up here, we're not even talking about it, but that's one that does stick out in my mind. And the fact that you guys could get to the end of the night and look like this, again, I mean, like a super attractive couple. For a photographer, you're just like, oh, score, high five, and then somebody that is easy to work with that wouldn't necessarily say, do you remember, Eden, did you tell us no for anything?
I don't think so. I don't know why I would. I mean, we hired you because we trusted you, and I do love a good picture. So I'm like, this is probably the best I'm ever going to look. let's get this documented. No, I don't think I would have said no. I do remember at the Muni, the one picture where I'm almost like, it's in the album that we made from all of this, but every so often I'm like, this is just like, is this a little narcissistic that I have this? It's just me, Haig's not even in it. And I remember, and I'm like this, and you're like, just pretend that you're Beyonce. And I think we must have told you that we had seen Beyonce and Jay-Z like 5 nights before our wedding. And I was like, that will be the best night of my life. I don't know how that can be topped. And you were like, you are Beyonce. And I was like, yes.
And you channeled it beautifully. And that's how things kind of work. But that's why you have this connection with people. And not just when you hire somebody.
You were a part of our wedding. Like, we spent more time with you that day than most of the guests there.
And that's something that I think Duane and I struggle with, because as much as we want to be like your awesome photographers for the day, we're also like, it's not about us. So that's the hard thing, isn't it?
But I would let go of that. But Duane, I'll let you talk. But like, it's so exhausting to have to socialize and meet and greet. And it's so nice to be able to say like, oh, gotta go take some pictures and just hang out with 2 people who are cool and who are like, just have a sip of your champagne, girl. Like, take a load off. It's a relief.
I mean, the smile on this, like, Duane, if you're looking at this, and I know you've seen it, you've seen this picture the most, because as a photographer, you spend so much time on the editing. All the work that's done is always on the back side of things that nobody ever sees. The fact that you guys even look this happy together, you know what I'm saying? And it's the end of the night to where you should be either sick of us or, I don't know, maybe
sick
something
of each other.
Yeah, sick of each other. Hey, we've all been married. We all get it.
We were like 4 hours in at this point, though. Like, that would have been probably not great if we were already sick of each other.
I just remember I walked in, and because I was in charge of the gentleman when I first got there, and I just remember how comfortable everybody was and their little room suite, and we did some crazy stuff in there, and it worked out. And I think I had them standing on the
The
window
windows,
ledge.
though. Hmm.
Yes, the window sill at some point, but everybody was a willing participant, and I said, "This is going to be a good day." And so, because like I said, I like to do crazy stuff sometimes, and
And that's a tough thing with the boys. I will tell you, it's not,
yes, yes,
with the ladies usually, and that was one of the perks that I had being and when I say lead photographer, I was just the one that basically on the contract, I contracted with them, but Dwayne and I were both like equal partners on this. I got to choose doing the ladies, and then Dwayne had to do the boys. And with the boys and with my experience of like family photography, other weddings and stuff like that, a lot of the times the boys just aren't into it.
Yeah.
The girls are always, if you can make it a big magazine shoot or something, the girls
Girls
are into
love
it.
that. Yes. Take my
Right?
picture.
But I think Dwayne, you said that the whole time the boys were like, yeah, well, whatever you want to do.
yeah. I really liked it, and they seem to be doing it without a lot of excess alcohol. So
Well,
none that I saw
yeah, none that
anyway.
you saw, probably.
But yeah, that just I've always got a tough time coming up with ideas to keep everybody lively and into it, and so but they made it easy for sure. Both of you made it easy. It was a good day
Oh,
for the photographers for sure.
what a fun day. And Brian, your son was the assistant.
Yes, yep. He was hauling stuff around
He
all
did
day for us, and
great.
yes, he did.
I was
Yeah.
very proud of that. And Dwayne, you treated him Dwayne even paid him, which I was like, Dwayne's
You're
making
like, don't
money
do
doing
it.
his own stuff. But I'm like, he's here to assist. But Dwayne, I mean, I'm telling you, Dwayne is one of those guys that you meet in your life that you're like, he will go to bat for you. He's just one of those good guys out there. And he treated my son very well. My son right now, he's actually starting his second year at West Point. And every
Incredible.
interaction he's had with anybody within his life has been kind of a little brick layer at the base to make him who he is. He's such a better person than I am. But Dwayne, you treated him very well. And Eden, I totally remember having him kind of helping us out and everything. But so, anything else that you remember towards the end of this night
Now I'm
that you
gonna
have to kind of
cough.
add in? That's okay.
You
Dwayne
can
had a
edit that
big,
out,
huge
right?
coughing fit
I
on one
remember
of
you
our
said that.
episodes. I
And I was
cut
like, oh
out.
my God, this is gonna happen to me. Okay, that's it though. That was it. I was like, just hold it till the end of the sun story because that was so endearing. Wait, what did you say though? Anything else I can remember?
Well,
From the...
I just, as we're getting to the end of our episode here, because I mean, we honestly could go on about the entire day,
Yeah.
but
Yes,
these are just very, 20, 30 minutes of what's going on behind this particular thing here. So I'm just kind of curious. We've talked about each one of our, kind of what was going on in our heads. Is there anything else that you can kind of remember towards the end of the night here that
Oh.
was kind of around this time?
Yeah, I can remember one very important detail that happened right after this picture. That bouncer that I was telling you about, I'm not kidding, he was a dick. And I walked over, it was at the Pinup Bowling Alley. So cute.
just a block up the street.
Just a block up the street. You can see what I was
Yep.
wearing. There were no pockets. I didn't even think to grab my wallet. Just walked on down. I am obviously the bride. I was with Hike. We rented out the whole place for our after party. Or maybe we just rented out the lanes. Doesn't really matter. He wouldn't let me in. He wouldn't let me in without my ID. He got kind of confrontational with me, and I was like, are you joking? He also wouldn't let my mother in without her ID.
Oh
My
my!
mother was 70 almost. She would kill me for saying that. She was not quite 70 yet. And so my sister, or my sister went back to the hotel room, got my ID, just my ID, not my wallet for me, brought it back. I showed him, got in, but then I got in and I was like, I don't have any where do I put this license? So I gave it to her. She put it in her purse. We left the next day. Haig and I are driving home back to St. Louis. Back to Chicago. Everyone else stayed in St. Louis. We get there. We were flying out to Hawaii very early the next morning. And as we were pulling into Chicago at about 8:00 the next night, my sister calls me saying, I have your license.
Oh
We
my.
were getting on a flight in a few hours. It was a disaster. We
And
got on the flight. We did get on the flight without my ID. There was a
how did
whole
that
bunch
happen?
there was a whole bunch of back and forth. Do we meet halfway? Do like 2.5 hours for both of us? Get the ID, come back? Do we have enough time? We asked my brother-in-law if he could drive up. You might remember there was a 2-week-old baby in the wedding party. That was his daughter. He was like, no, I have a baby. I'm not doing any more for you today. So we went home. Everybody at my family was having dinner. All of them, so many lawyers in that group, started looking up how you can get on a flight. And they were like, you'll be fine and do this and do this. So I went back. I got my credit card, an old, an electric bill, like going to the DMV style. We showed up as early as we can when gates opened at like 4 a.m. You guys, they just let me walk in. They were like, okay, that's fine. Go ahead. So then we were also at our flight like 3 hours early. We started just having Bloody Marys. We never slept the rest of that night.
That's crazy that they did.
Yeah.
You earned all those Bloody Marys for
Oh,
sure.
I did. And then my brother-in-law mailed my ID to us to get to our hotel in Maui, which I also think you're not supposed to do. I don't think that's legal to mail an ID, but that was like 6 years ago. Who cares?
Jeez. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm surprised that you did that without the ID initially. But Duane, do you have anything else to add about the evening or how you were kind of feeling shooting them? I mean, were you feeling like they were done?
Yes. Well, like I said, they were both pretty much let it known on the sidewalk. This will
That was
be
it.
But so after the wedding, we wrapped everything up. We'd been walking through the bar at the Moonrise Hotel pretty much all day because we had our gear stored off to the side. And I had been eyeballing some bourbon on the top shelf there, which was not cheap bourbon. The cheapest one was $31 for a pour. So anyway, it was my intention to have one of those pours to celebrate afterwards. I couldn't bring myself to do it. So, but anyways, I sat there and I had some cheaper bourbon and about 3 or 4 very high-powered IPAs. And so finally, me and a gentleman from Cincinnati got to talking. We were the only two at the bar. The bartender said, I'll give you a free slug of the high dollar bourbon. So
good. I'm so glad.
They poured me a little sip, and my new buddy from Cincinnati, I explained the bourbon to him and the history behind it. And but I was probably not in any shape to drive, but I drove back to St. Charles, which is probably about 20 miles away, and I got a scolding from the missus.
I bet you did.
Rightly so.
I bet you
Rightly so.
Yes, and a law enforcement official as well. But
Well, not only that, but you have photography discs or
what if something had happened?
memory cards. If something happened, what am I supposed to do?
I would have got them to you, Brian. I got connections. I had connections.
All's well that ends well.
Well, this was exactly this whole vibe, everything that we did tonight, all of the smiles and the talking about the story behind this one image here is exactly why I wanted to do this One Shot Stories. Eden, thank you so much for hanging out on a random Friday. And
yes,
Duane,
Nice to see you again as
It's
well.
so good to see you both. Seriously, thank you. And thanks to Hyde for taking care of the girls this whole time while I was down
Oh,
here.
yeah. You'll have to
Yeah.
give him some credit for watching the kids, because that is
Well,
a big deal in the
yeah.
background.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of interviews to where I'm talking to somebody and somebody's kids come running in, and
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
hey,
I'm shocked. I'm shocked no one has
been there,
barged
done
in.
that. You know, a naked kid come running through crying about something, and, you know, dad's like, I can't do this. So, well, thank you both for hanging out on a Friday night. This is One Shot Stories, the behind the scenes stories of that one image that's in your collection. Eden and Duane, thank you so much for hanging out, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks.